So the next topic will be delivered by the academia, who is studying about Web3 use cases, regulatory implication, and what this means for Vietnam's digital currency. So please, with the topic, Vietnam's digital currency, public perspective and regulation implication. Now we welcome to the stage Mr. Vũ Minh Ngô, Professor, School of Banking, University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City. Please welcome him.
Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here to present the topic. One of the topic that we are in the University of Economics, Ho Chi Minh City working on. A little bit about the project and myself. My name is Ngô Minh Vũ. I'm a senior lecturer in School of Banking of UH University, one of the biggest one in Vietnam in terms of economics subject and others. I'm honored to be invited here by Hồng Bang University to share a little bit about the Vietnamese digital currency. CBDC, okay, one of the applications of blockchain and the cryptocurrency, but from the perspective of the government. Okay? So it's a little bit, could be a little bit strange from the main themes of our conference, because we are talking mainly about the developer of Web3 as I seeing in the agenda. But let's see what some of the key idea of what is digital currency from the perspective of the government. Can I change the slide? Okay, thank you. It's also the co-research between UH University, Chavez, one of the journal in Vietnam, and the Friedrich Naumann Foundation, one Germany organization in Vietnam. So, three key points I will deliver today is first, the key feature of central bank digital currency, we call it the CBDC. And what is the Vietnamese public awareness and level of adoption of CBDC? So we doing a survey and we ask people, how about your opinion if the government in Vietnam issues a CBDC for you to use? Okay, what kind of level of adoption you want to do with the CBDC, the cryptocurrency, but from the government, okay? And some policy implication here. So first of all, for the definition of CBDC, because you are all experts in the field, so I just go very quickly. Some of the main ideas you can see here, I will adopt, we call it the money flower from Patch and Gara 2017 to introduce the definition of the CBDC. You can see we have here is the intersection between the digital and the central bank issues. Okay, so the gray areas here is the CBDC. It means that the intersection between the digital application of currency, but it needs to be from the government, especially from the central bank. Okay, so we have the combination and we have the CBDCs here. If we want to go more deeply into different categories of CBDC, we can also add more characteristics. Here, two more categories we can think about. Here, first, widely accessible or only accessible for some special organizations. Okay. For the public accessible, we will have the CBDC for all of you. Okay, so we can open an account in central bank or some commercial bank and start to use the digital currency from the government, okay, to buy and sell and to do some transaction for your private use or for your company use, okay. But we can also, the central bank can also decide that I don't want for the public use. I just want for the big organization use of CBDC. Okay, some private company or some very special organization like the banking, the commercial bank, okay, or the company who have the state-owned in their ownership. Okay, so we have two different here. We have the CBDC, which is public, or which is for the use for some special organization. We call it the retail or the wholesale CBDC. Okay, retail CBDC is for the public use. Wholesale is for the special use for special organization. Okay, and then we have other thing is more technical. Here is the token base or the account base. Okay, so token base is like that you use the crypto. Okay, so we have the private key, we have the public key associated with the unit of the CBDC, and then we use it just like the cash. Okay, so you using the token to transfer the unit of CBDC to other user. Okay, so we don't need to know who is the user using the money. We just need to know that this is the valid unit of CBDC with the private key or the public key associated with it. Okay, and then we have the account base. Okay, opposite with the token base, we have the account base. Account base is mean that we need to identify the user who owe the CBDC. Okay, and then we use that kind of user information and user account information to do the transaction between the user. Okay, whenever you want to transfer the fund using the CBDC as a fund, transfer to another user, you need to go log in to your account. Okay, and you need to go through some procedure. Okay, to identify yourself, you are the one who owns the account, and then send in the CBDC away. Okay, so this is it's like you are owning the deposit in the bank. Okay, but instead of the legal tender here now, Vietnamese dong, US dollar, euro, we have the CBDC, okay, in your account, and then you can send it. Okay, so it's account based. Okay, so that is some of the main characteristics and categories of CBDC. So eventually we have 4 main categories of the CBDC here. You can see. Okay, public use or wholesale, token based or the account based CBDC. Okay. Thank you. A little bit about the design principle of CBDC. So currently, a lot of projects of the CBDC are implementing around the world. Okay, from different government, and more than 100 countries are doing the research about the CBDC and even pilot the CBDC. If you are reading the news, you know that China have pilot their CBDC 1 year ago. Okay? So we have 2 principles, very different principles for the CBDC design. From here is 2 exemplary design from BUIDL Bank of China and the Bank of England. Yeah, very different one. Okay, and I just want to compare them a little bit. Okay, to make sure that you see that the CBDC is not the consensus agreement between the government. It still have a lot of debate between the government how to design a very good CBDC. Okay, first from the public, People's Bank of China, you can see that the China Central Bank want to build the cash-like features for the CBDC. Okay, it means that it's used non-interest accrual. It means that the CBDC is just like a bill, okay, a coin. Okay, so there's no interest related to the CBDC. You can use it for doing the transaction, but we don't pay any interest for you. Okay, but Bank of England, they want to use the CBDC as an instrument for their monetary policy. Okay, it means that you need to put the CBDC in one account, and I will pay some interest for you. Okay. And it's kind of the new money invented by the central bank. Okay, CBDC here is just not new money; it's just a new instrument of money. Okay, new way of presenting and transfer the money. Yeah. So for the People's Bank of China, we have the low cost and free convertible. It means that you can transfer between the real cash and the CBDC anytime you want. Okay, you owe some of the CBDC and you want to change it into the normal cash again, you can go to some commercial bank and do it. Okay, and free, or even with just a very low cost. Okay, but for the Bank of England, okay, there's no guarantee that you will be convertible between the normal money, normal currency, and the CBDC. Okay, so it will require you to treat the CBDC and the normal currency differently. Okay, they are not convertible 100%. Okay, you can change it to some percent according to the regulation, but it's not free and it's not low cost convertible. Okay, the people, the China, the Central Bank of China is doing the account-based and also value-based system for the CBDC right now. Okay, account-based means that it's used also the account to manage the user when they're doing with the CBDC. But they also using the value-based. Value-based means the token-based. Okay, the token-based system to transfer the CBDC between the user. Okay, so it means that you can see that for the very low value transaction, you don't need to identify yourself. Okay, you just need to go to the app and just sending the CBDC between you. Okay, but for the very big transaction using the CBDC, okay, there will be more procedure for you to follow, okay, to do the transaction successfully. Okay, so we use the combination of account-based and also the value-based system. Okay, the Bank of China is doing and manage mostly anonymity. Okay, it means that they don't want to go into very detail of every transaction of every user. Okay, mainly anonymous. But sometimes with the very big value transaction, okay, the central bank have the ability to go to that transaction based on the account base. Okay. The Bank of England, mostly the CBDC will use for the wholesale. Yeah, it means that the commercial bank will using the CBDC to do the transaction with the central bank. Okay, they don't use the CBDC for the public. Okay, it's just a new type of money that the central bank want to do the business with the big organization, commercial bank. Okay, because it's convenient, it's low cost. Okay, it's fast, so the Bank of England want to use it. Okay, and they want to implement it and experience. If it's okay, they will try to replace some some portions of the normal currency with the CBDC when doing the wholesale. It means the transaction with the other big organization in the world. Okay. Okay. So that's some of the two different design principles for the CBDC currently are applying right now. Okay. Okay. So it's just the summary of some of what we have just done. I will go through it. Some of the architecture, okay, architecture for designing the distributions of the CBDC, okay. So we have from the research of our 2020, okay, very recent research, we have 3 types of architecture we can distribute the CBDC to the public, okay. So the first one we call the indirect CBDC. It means that central bank will need the help from the commercial bank, okay? So they cannot do the retail payment with every people in the public, okay? They will need the help of the commercial bank to do the retail payment for them, okay? They just do the wholesale payment with the commercial bank, okay? So we have the commercial bank here will be the intermediary, okay, in managing the circulation of the CBDC with the public. And when then we have the direct CBDC. Direct CBDC means that everybody go to the central bank, open an account in the central bank, and doing directly transaction with the central bank. You can deposit the CBDC in the account in the central bank, or you can withdraw it. Okay, you can use the service of the central bank to transfer the CBDC from one user to another user. Okay, so it means that CBDC we need to open. The central bank we need to open an account for everyone in the public, if they can, if they have the infrastructure to do it. They need to do also the KYC. Okay, they need to, by themselves, they need to have the technology, the infrastructure to do the KYC for every people. Okay, if they use the account-based CBDCs. Okay, and they need to handle retail payment. Okay, it means that the central bank also need to connect with a lot of millions of companies, millions of shops, millions of restaurants. So it's not possible, right? It's not possible right now, okay? So mostly, you will see that indirect CBDC and hybrid CBDC, distribution system will be used. Okay? For the hybrid CBDCs, the central bank will not use the commercial bank, but they will need to incorporate or need to collaborate with some of the fintech company to do the KYC, to manage the retail payment for them, okay, with the public. Okay. So mainly here is the distribution system that people are using right now, indirect CBDC. The government around the world are using the indirect CBDC here. Okay, so very few of them doing the direct CBDC. Okay, we can say that direct CBDC will be used for the wholesale CBDC. Okay, it means that here is not the public, here is the big organization. Okay, and central bank will do the direct CBDC with the commercial bank or with the big company. Okay. Okay, and one of the things very debatable in the CBDC design is whether we want to use the centralized or decentralized technology. It means that can we use the blockchain in the CBDC or not? Okay, so it's one of the very debatable topic when we come to the CBDC. Okay, so when we use the when we use the DLT technologies, okay. So it means that we will improve the transparency for the CBDC, okay? And also we have the security from the DLT for the CBDC, okay? But we will lose the control of the central bank for the transaction. But is it the money from the central bank, right? The CBDC is issued by the central bank. So they want to have some control of the transaction using their money, okay? So, around the world, the government are experimenting. Okay, they also building their own blockchain to have that kind of infrastructure for the CBDC. Okay, for themselves. Okay, it's just a private blockchain. It's not the public blockchain that we are using right now. Okay. Okay, account-based, token-based, I have explained it, so I will go through it. We don't have enough time, I think. And one of very interesting application, if the CBDC is successful, is to doing the cross-border payment. Okay, so you know that we are doing a lot of financial, international trading, international financial transaction every day. Okay, millions of them. Okay, and if we are using the current financial system, is a huge cost involved. So we want to reduce that kind of cost, and CBDC can play a very important role in doing it. Okay, so if we have the cross-border payment enabled by the CBDC, you can see that we can reduce the significant cost of transaction. Okay, and we can also improve the securities of these transactions. But one of the things that we need to pay attention to when we want to build a cross-border payment, the country, the government need to work together. Okay, because it's a new one, it's a new technology, it's a new system, new infrastructure. So we need to have the common CBDC. Okay, it's like the dollar. Okay, so everyone using the dollar for international trading. Okay, so we need to think of some kind of we can say the dollar CBDC. Okay, or some common international CBDC that we can use for different countries. Okay, not just for your country, but maybe the CBDC that can be accepted in other countries as well. Okay, and we need to think about the technology, how we can transfer the CBDC, okay, from one country, from one system of CBDC in Vietnam to the system of CBDC in China, for example. Okay, so government are working together on this one. Okay, we cannot do, each government cannot do it separately and then combine it together later. It's not a very efficient way to do it. Okay, from the beginning, we need to work together. Okay, to build the common CBDC if we want to build a network for the cross-border payment. Okay. Okay, so it's the benefits of the CBDC when we use the DLTs. It's for the counterfeiting risk, we can reduce it, and also the double spending using the DLT. So it's also the motivation for the government around the world to applying the CBDC, beside the threat from the private crypto. Okay, So we said that, okay, so a lot of companies are doing the private crypto and they want to replace the legal tender, legal currency. So we need to do it as well. The government motive to research and also pilot the CBDC around the world. But also we have the benefit that the government want to apply, want to use the new technology of the DLT, for example, the counterfeiting risk, okay, and the double spending. Using the blockchain, we can also reduce these risks very efficiently. Okay, okay, so I will skip this one because let's talk about the current situation of CBDC around the world. Okay, so this is a map of central bank digital currency status. Okay, I have updated just about, I think 2 days ago. Okay, and you can see different color for different country, and each color will have a stage of implementing of CBDC. And you can see some of the countries have piloted. Okay, China, India, okay, Canada, okay, and also have Saudi Arabia, I think, Nigeria. Okay, so the other countries are going ahead and piloting the CBDC. Okay. And most of the other country will be in the phase of research. Okay, the phase of research. It means that there's a lot of things to do with the CBDC. It's a new concept. It just emerged 1 year ago when we have also the emerge of the cryptocurrency and the threat of the private cryptocurrency. So the central bank are thinking about they also need to have their crypto to compete. Okay? And most of the country are doing the research right now, and some of them have going advanced. Russia going advanced to the proof of concept. Some of Brazil, maybe they also advance in their research and turn it into the proof concept. Japan, Korea, and some Southeast Asia country like Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia. So some of the information about the CBDC project around the world. Again, 114 countries are doing the research and other activities with related to the CBDC. Okay, 11 countries have fully launched the digital currency. Okay, but most of them are small countries. Okay, the biggest one, China, have piloted the CBDC, reach more than 250 million people. Okay, so more than the population of Vietnam, double. Okay, but they have already done it last year. Okay, and they want in this year 2023 they will finish the piloting, and maybe in next year they will officially launch the digital currency of yuan. Yeah. And currently we also have the 9 cross-border wholesale CBDC. Okay, it means that government around the world working together to build a cross-border payment CBDC. And for the country that are piloting the CBDC, we have over 20 countries are doing this right now. Australia, Thailand, Brazil, India, South Korea, Russia. Okay, intend to continue the pilot in 2023, and next year will the ECB maybe start pilot the CBDC. Okay, so it means that the big players are now entering the serious phase of the CBDC. Okay, more than just the proof concept or the research. They are going forward, and they surely want to pilot it and launch it in the very near future. Okay. G7 economies now move to, all of them are now moved to the development stage, especially for US. Okay, the US, surprisingly, US is not the leading country in CBDC. Okay, for some reason, I don't know. Okay, we need to do more research about why the central bank, the Fed, don't want to go very quickly in CBDC. But the New York Federal Reserve wholesale CBDC experiments with the project called CEDA officially launched in December 2022 and moving from the research to the development phase, okay, proof of concept phase. Okay. 18 of the 20 G20 countries are now in the advance of stage of CBDC development. It's meant from last year to 2022 to 2023. This year, they are advancing the phase. Okay, some of the, I will go quickly through some of the cross-border payment project, again, of CBDC to see that which country are now are cooperating to each other to do the CBDC. We can see here the project done by from the Australia, Singapore, Malaysia, South Africa. Okay, they are the wholesale, of course. Okay, but we also have the retail. Okay, very strange that the government cooperate together to do the retail for their citizen. Okay, of CBDC, and we see that we have the Israel, Norway, Sweden, and the Bank of International Settlement are doing the research on this one. Okay. We also have the project Mariana from France, Switzerland, Singapore, and also the Bank of International Settlement. Okay. Project Jura from also France, Switzerland. Okay, so France and Switzerland are very active when doing the cross-border payment for the CBDC. Okay. Project Jasper from Canada, UK, and Singapore. Okay, Singapore also a very active one. Okay, and Project Aber from the Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Okay, so that is some of the big cross-border CBDC payment. You can see that some of the big country are doing very seriously considering cooperate to each other to have the common CBDC for them. Okay. Some information about the ECYN is mean that the CBDC up from the China. Okay, so they start pilot in 2019. Okay, and currently, they reach to the pocket of more than 250 million people. Yeah? And some of the private company also start using the ECN for the payment, like Alipay. Again, Alipay is, you can use for the express payment, you can use the ECYN. Okay? And yes, some other events, some big event, they try to introduce the ECYN to other foreign citizens as well. Okay? And they included ECYN in their currency circulation. It means that they are official CBDC, official currency for the China. It's not out of the regulation anymore. Okay? But it's very small scale. It just represents about a 0.13%. Yeah? Small scale of the currency for the whole system of finance. But they are just piloting. Okay? So we can see that this number will be bigger and bigger in the future. Okay? And they also using, I also joined some cross-border project for Thailand and the UAE and Hong Kong for the MCBDC project called Bridge. Okay. The architecture they are using for distributed ECYN is in the indirect CBDC. Okay, it means that also use the account base and also using the commercial bank in the between, the public and the central bank. Okay. And the data governance, they say that, okay, they say, I don't know, but they say that for the smaller value transaction, it will be anonymous. Okay, for the high value transaction, you will be traced. Yeah, you will trace. Okay, so it's ambiguous, right? So we don't know exactly what it means. What is high value, what is small value, we don't know yet. But it's the principle that they want to implement. Okay. Okay, so for the just 1 minute and half left, I will introduce a little bit of CBDC public adoption in Vietnam. It's a very new concept in Vietnam. Okay, so we had to do a survey. Okay, more than 1,000 citizens in Vietnam asked about the CBDC, and it's very interesting that most of them want to use CBDC if the government issue it. Okay, so 89% want to use it. Okay, but they will use it if the government if the government have some function of CBDC they want, okay? And the biggest function they want is the cross-border payment. Okay? So if they will not use the CBDC, okay, if the CBDC cannot provide them with the cross-border payment, okay. So we need further research for this one, but I can say that BUIDL Vietnam are doing the international transaction, especially moving the fund in Vietnam to other countries very difficult and involve a lot of cost. Okay, so they want to reduce that kind of cost if they using the CBDC here. Okay, and other function they want is, of course, they want to have the private matter of the payment. It means that the government need not to trace their transaction. Okay, and then they also consider about the cost, of course. Yeah, cost effective means. Okay, so these are the three biggest one for function of CBDC. If the government of Vietnam want to implement it in the future. Okay. So I think that my time is up, and this is the introduction of CBDC, and I hope that you will get some useful information, and we can go further for other topic today. And thank you so much for listening, and hopefully that we have a great section today and tomorrow of the government. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Vũ Minh Ngô. We really appreciate your time for putting it up together for BUIDL Vietnam.